Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We are merging the streams between all the good things the Ravens and Lamar are doing on the field, and hopefully staying safe and washing their hands and staying COVID-free as we get through bye week and beyond. We're also telling good Baltimore stories. I'm actually wearing my Cole Roofing hat. I'm usually drinking a Royal Farms coffee out of the Cole Roofing mug, but Billy Cole told me to start sharing the love and telling some community stories. This is not the first time we've had Jeffery Kendrick on. He is the executive director for the Maryland Center for Veterans Education and Training. You may know it as MCVET. You can find them at mcvet.org. There's a whole website, lots of good stuff. But as much as the Maryland Running Festival was going on here through my birthday week and the Columbus Day week, there's other running festivals, some of them virtually and otherwise. Jeffery, good to have you back on. I know it's been challenging times, I think, for everybody out there trying to do good things for good people. We're in the hard times of our life. We always heard about the plague and the pandemic, and my mom, who died a couple years ago, would say the virus. And, we are in the grips of this 6 months into this, and as much as I'm imploring people to vote and support candidates and let's get this country back on its feet, there are already people out there that were hurting before. I know I had you on maybe 2 years ago, and you guys are raising money for a great cause and some good Americans, and I want to give you some oxygen to tell everybody about it.
Well, I appreciate that, Nestor, and thank you for having me on. You're right. A couple years ago we talked, and now look at where we're at right now. COVID-19 has now struck us. We at MCVET, Maryland Center for Veterans Education and Training, have been shut down since March, opened back up in July, and like many other organizations now are trying to regroup and get ourselves back on our feet and provide comprehensive services to homeless military veterans.
We've all been somewhere where we've driven past a corner, and it can be in Perring Parkway, it can be Windsor Mill, it can be down at Ritchie Highway, over my side of town, Eastern Avenue, Merritt Boulevard, anywhere in the community, and see someone on a corner with a sign that says homeless, need food, spare change, whatever it is. And there's a story behind every one of those people, right? And I did not always have the same sensitivity. I live at the city and the harbor. I had the same two gentlemen living on the same two corners here for almost 2 decades in one case. And I never thought to think, well, maybe he served, maybe she served, maybe they're, maybe they're military. And I don't know what that percentage would be like, but it would probably be startling to one of my listeners, right?
Oh, absolutely. And you are not unlike many other people who sometimes get what I call that 1,000-mile stare. You're so used to seeing people, maybe, which is a blight on us as a country. We're so used to seeing homeless people, people with a sign.
And I think every one of us have given somebody something. We've looked at them, like, I got a bottle of water. I've done that more. I did that recently, and you don't talk about it or tweet about it or, whatever, but you pull up to the right corner at the right time and you got something. You're like, hey, dude, here's an extra something, right? I mean, we've all done that, right? Literally.
Absolutely. And as a veteran, I have to just say, we want to do a little bit more, and that's why we're here. So what we ask is that, hey, that person with that sign is a veteran, a man or woman who has served this country, sacrificed their time for the freedoms that we may sometimes just take for granted. But since they've done that, can we not try to help them? And that's what our organization does. Takes these individuals off the street, provides them a vast array of services, with the end result being we want that person employed and then put into permanent housing.
Well, and I guess there's a story everywhere, and you've had far too many in your time there. Give everybody a little bit about your background and how you got to do this kind of work, and we'll get out and we'll tell everybody things that are going on and about the virtual run. But behind every person, spokesperson, directors of places, there's a reason that you sit in that seat you're in.
Well, my story very simply is I'm a Maryland native, University of Maryland. Then I enlisted in the Air Force. 26 years later, I walked back out of the door of the Air Force with a degree and a skill, things that I could do. And I thought my chosen field was going to be in IT. But I went to a job fair, met the dynamic leader of the organization at the time, Colonel Charles Williams, came through the doors of MCVET. And I have to tell you, honestly, I didn't even know anything about homelessness. And I didn't even comprehend that a person could be homeless, sleeping on the streets. But came into MCVET, thought I was just going to have a brief cup of coffee and walk out the door. 15 years later, I now am the head of the organization with one goal. Any person that has served this country, regardless of where they're at, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, state of Maryland, in the nation, my goal is to find that person and reclaim them. Try to wash them up a little bit, give them some skills that will ultimately result in a job, full-time job, not mediocre wages, and then give them a key to their own place. And I can honestly say Baltimore City should be able to hang its hat on the fact that in the nation, we are considered one of the premier programs to do that here for the entire nation. And in 26 years, we've had over 11,000 veterans come through our door.
Whoa.
Over
11,000 veterans?
11,000 veterans in 26 years. But nonetheless, there are still over 30,000 veterans now in the nation that are still homeless. So there's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I wave at everybody right now, and, I wasn't always as political as I've become at Baltimore Positive. I've become more political because of these kinds of stories. When I think about my uncle who just died recently, who served in Korea, and my father-in-law who served in Vietnam, and, I tell people, vote. You got to vote. Because, like, this, to me, unto itself, I would have thought back in my childhood after Vietnam and then, through the Iraq War and through 9/11 and all this, that we would be getting this right as a country, right? That there would not be such a thing as, people having problems at Fort Howard or having problems with their VA or let alone being out on the street. I mean, I come from a family, my grandfather served World War II. So, I come from a family of people that served, and my grandfather had the DAV license plate, on his car till the day he died back in the 1990s. And you would just think that that was part of the integrity of the deal, that you'd serve and you wouldn't be on a corner with a sign. But sadly, it's the case far too often.
Much too often. And here's the thing I always try to tell everybody. You pointed it out perfectly. Maybe you didn't serve, but find me anybody in this country who does not have a relative, a brother, a daughter, a mother, a sister who has not served in the military. And I don't think you're going to find anybody, which means we all must rally together to help these men and women. Because sometimes things we do as simple as just going down the street to get a hamburger, going to get a cup of coffee. Those are things that we can do in other countries that people cannot do. And how do we get to do that? The sacrifices these men and women have made. And a lot of the problems that contribute to their homelessness was based on their military service.
Well, here we go. So I got the website up for those of you following on the Zoom. For those of you driving around, it is mcvet.org. All the services, housing, support, intake, and the entire staff, and one click away to get some information, and lots and lots of information up here. But I know you want to promote this Veterans Day, a virtual run and walk. I just saw literally right before the segment, I was out fishing out my dark ice cream for my next segment because pistachio is my favorite today, Jeffrey.
Okay.
But people are running and virtual running and logging running, and we can't bring people together the way we want in so many ways. But this is your biggest fundraiser, and I want to let you talk about this a little bit. And literally the shoes that I have on my feet right now, my black and orange, to honor the Baltimore Orioles. I got a Charm City run, and Josh is a buddy of mine over there, so there's a plug. If you see Josh Levinson, tell him I'm walking better.
I'll let him know that. Sure. Thank you. And I'm glad for this segue to talk about our virtual run. Normally, we would have a 5K, 10K race. It's usually on Memorial Day weekend. We run through scenic, beautiful downtown Baltimore is what I tell everybody.
My homeland. That's my turf right there.
Yes. We run from City Hall through the Inner Harbor, up to Fort McHenry and back.
I see you guys run by every year. I mean, we wake up on Saturday and Sunday mornings. We live right at the Inner Harbor, and we see the streets roped off, and we know somebody's doing something good for somebody. And then we see people rolling through, and then we see them drinking before and drinking after and eating after, and families coming down to cheer them on. And, that's part of what we love about urban life, quite frankly.
Absolutely. And it's always been a very scenic setting, festive, a family event. This year, our race marshals were the Gold Star mothers from the state of Maryland. So we had everything planned. Everything was laid out. Had secured the event, had the course already laid out, and then all of a sudden, bam, we got hit with COVID-19. But as true Americans, as true veterans, we just adapted and overcame and decided, well, we still can hold this event, we're just going to have to change it around a little bit. And so we did that by making it a virtual event. So we're still doing the same exact event with the proceeds for this event going directly back into the overall operational costs of the organization. But this year, instead of meeting at the War Memorial Plaza, instead of running through scenic downtown Baltimore, the Inner Harbor and Fort McHenry, now you can do a virtual run that you can do in your neighborhood, at your gym, in your basement, walking around your neighborhood. But the same proceeds that we have used for this race will now be done just a little bit differently, but yet still goes to a great cause, MCVET, the Maryland Center for Veterans Education and Training, and those veterans, men and women, who still need our services.
Jeffery Kendrick is joining us right now. He's the executive director there at MCVET. You can sign up. I have the form online here, and usually they run this thing in different time, but we're going to run this November 11th. It's a Veterans Day virtual run and walk. Usually we get people together, and and I guess for everybody, all of our lives have changed so much, right? So give me a little look at how it's changed, what's going on in your organization over the last 6 or 7 months. And, I would think this is we've seen this across the entire spectrum of life, where people that were already on the edge of being challenged, whether it's food challenged, housing, that this creates even more chaos, correct?
Oh, absolutely. But to our supporters, the veteran service organizations, the American Legions, the VFWs, the Vietnam Veterans Association, NAVVETS, many have rallied and still aided our mission and cause. It has changed the way we do business. All of our prospective veterans, before they come in the program, are COVID tested. They're quarantined at a local hotel. And once we've got the results of the quarantine and the COVID test, they then come into the program, which changes slightly the way we do business. But I'm here to tell you that we closed in mid-March. When I say closed, we just didn't bring anybody in the program. We opened up the last week of July. And since we've opened up, we've had a steady stream of veterans coming into the program. So that means there's still a need on how things have to be done. And as I always tell everybody, the secret to a nonprofit is you have to make a profit. So in order for us to keep these doors open, in order for us to reach these men and women who need our services, we still need the support of the community to make sure that we can make this event go off. And so I do appreciate you allowing me to come on, and I could talk about this program forever and ever, because it is a life calling, something I truly believe, and it is a mission that still must be done. And MCVET's goals are very simple. We want to close one day. We want to go out of business. But the only way we can do that is no man or woman who has served this country can be homeless. So as long as there's a person that needs our services, we have to keep our doors open, and we can only do that through the support we've received from your listeners.
Well, I appreciate all the work you're doing out there, and certainly you coming on once or twice a year and telling us all the things that are going on. Good luck with your event. We're going to send everybody out to mcvet.org to learn more about everything that's going on. And I can tell the passion. The passion comes right on through, Jeffrey. I appreciate you, man.
All right. Well, we salute you, Nestor, and we salute your support. We are glad that we have people like you in our corner that realize that we have a valid mission. It's vital, still continues, and still needs to be done. So I always ask, if you see a homeless veteran on the street, point them down to us, 301 North High Street. We're a block away from City Hall. Give us a call. We have an outreach team that is out on the street 24 hours a day. We are never closed. We are open. And so any man or woman that needs our services, our goal is to find them, bring them into our program where they can stay for, by the way, up to 2 years, for us to work on them, to help them get themselves and reclaim their rightful place in society.
Well, I'll tell you what, one click away. We saw that ad on the website, mcvet.org. Appreciate you, Jeff. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
Jeffery Kendrick, he's the executive director at the Maryland Center for Veterans Education and Training. Maryland Center for Veterans Education and Training, MCVET, mcvet.org. You can find me, Nasty, at WNST.net. Still keeping that email address as we merge the streams between the old and the sports of WNST.net, AM 1570. And our new brand, we are Baltimore Positive, and it's stories like that trying to make the city better.